Look at this, first time Miles ever seen that fan on it. He's like, what the fuck? First time I ran it in 3 years. I've had that 30 years. That thing ran in my house for 20 years straight in the basement. Huh. He's up there by me. He must. Hey, what are you doing? You afraid of that fan? Huh? Well, I've been over this truck the last couple of days. I cleaned the points. Oh, it's getting dark over here. There's no light. I cleaned the points, cleaned the plugs, checked all the gaps. And from joining one of those 6-cylinder clubs, I found out these older distributors are known to have some defects. If you look, that's your vacuum advance. Now it seems to me to move all that big heavy vacuum advance instead of having springs and weights inside of your distributor to do it, to help you do it, you need good vacuum. I forward that vacuum up around here to right here. Now these two carburetors, I notice I put my hand over this one, it sucks me right in. I put my hand over this one, it doesn't. It does a little, but nothing like this carburetor does. And it's got a drain hole in it or something in the top. But that one don't have. I'm getting that couple rusty spots on it and a leaky look. I went over everything, made sure they were all tight and everything. There's no leaks or everything's tight. Now I didn't spray it with anything to see if the motor, if you have a leak in your carburetor and you spray it like with carburetor cleaner, it'll suck that in and your motor will speed up without you touching the pedal. That's a way to check if you have a leak. It seems to me, with all the sucking on this one does, it would have great vacuum. But the vacuum's hooked up to this one that don't have a lot of suction. And your vacuum is created by the suction, the motor sucking air down in is what draws in your, makes your vacuum by the air going through this, down this way, sucking in. But I moved that line out, hell there ain't nothing behind there, that's all fake. I'm gonna pull that blue tank off there. But there's not even a hole. I was gonna move this vacuum line to back here, but there's no hole. And I'd have tremendous vacuum off of that carburetor. I'm gonna get some carburetor cleaner and put some seat foam in my fuel tank and try to get this carburetor working better without taking it off or anything. But she'll run like hell when you're winding her through the, winding her out, but other times it's sluggish. And when I was underneath, I had the plug leaked on the tranny. So I pulled the plug and I drained what was left of the grease or lube. I cleaned the plug and Teflon taped it, put it back in, refilled the tranny up with new grease and put, or keep saying grease, with gear oil and put the other plug in. I took it for a ride, the tranny's nice and smooth now. But, and it does run better cleaning them points and plugs. I mean, unbelievably, this thing will fly. You could wind second gear out to 100 mile an hour probably. But I ran a little bit hard trying to blow it out and clean it out. And I went up, I left the house, made a left, went up the bumpy road, made a right, made another right, made another right, made another right, was back on my road. Got a half a mile up my road and here they patched the holes with cold patch. Clean across the whole road in 3 or 4 spots. I drove home mostly in the weeds off the side of the road to stay out of the, you're supposed to cover that. I worked 15, 16 years patching these roads. if you wasn't going to throw some sand over top of your cold patch, you at least took a broom and swept up some dirt around the area and covered up your cold patch so it didn't just get stuck to everybody's tires and driven out of the ditch. But what a mess. I got back home and didn't have too much cold patch on it. I had to pick a few spots off. I had to pick some out of the tires with them little, see like that little rock right there? Them get stuck in your tire and then fly out and chip shit. Where was I? I drifted off pitching. Okay, like I said, the tranny works good. It's not leaking. New grease, new lube in it. Shifting nicer. Even feels a little smoother to run. I'm getting a howling sound. As I join a couple of them straight six clubs, and I hear them talking about this old distributor and how, what's up? And how they had trouble with them. Trying to follow in the light plug. They had trouble with them rubbing inside. And that's what this one sounds like. Something's rubbing inside. And plus it's making this ticking noise. I did see where they change them to the newer style ones. And that gets rid of that shitty with vacuum advance and everything. Let me get this plug down. You see, that's a hell of a funky looking vacuum advance setup. You see, when you advance your motor and the vacuum builds up, the old distributor has to turn like that through this bladder right here, diaphragm. Where usually that's inside, that's done inside on the plate that your points are held on. And there's weights and springs that as your motor starts going faster, your timing advances to keep everything in time with your valves working faster. And getting your spark advanced so your fuel's getting all burnt. And that's the trouble I'm having, my fuel's not getting all burnt. I'm wondering if that advance is working like it should. Nowadays, that's all done electronically and stuff, but in the old days, it was vacuum. And some didn't even have it. In the Volkswagens, we changed them to the 09 distributors that didn't have vacuum advance. It was all done with springs and weights and that inside. Which I'm going to change this over to the newer style and get rid of that funky looking advance. Because that's what it seems like. It's not advancing and burning the gas right. If you think back to the old, if you ever seen somebody starting a car with a crank, how they used to go over to the steering column and move them levers as they was cranking it, that's what they were doing, was advancing their distributor and retarding their distributor to start it. One way started it, you put it another way to drive slow, you put it up a little more to drive fast. This is supposed to do it automatically. Look at them, boy, I got mechanic hands now, huh? But, like I said, I don't think that's advancing like it should. So I got to check into them newer style distributors. Because the cap inside, usually when you look at your rotor button in there, you got a little burnt spot, and that's telling you where your engine's firing. And you can actually tell if you're just barely firing in time or you're firing too late by that little burnt spot. Plus, when you look inside your cap, you'll see them little burnt spots all the way around all them 6 posts in there. This had a shiny rotor button and like a burnt spot completely across every one of those 6 spots. And it even looked like it was wore in a little bit, like it was touching it sometimes and wearing. And that's what they say these do. I cleaned that, but still, like I say, when the motor runs, you can hear it like it's rubbing or something. That's next on my list. Plus, it needs an O-ring. You gotta try and tighten up these oil leaks. I did start cleaning the spray more. I gotta get down in there now. But you're looking for me. There's a frog hopping around here. You see that frog? There's a frog in there. Froggy is over there somewhere. I'm gonna crawl in there and snug that oil pan up. See if I stop some of them leaks. But hell, you got open blowers on your valve pan covers. Overblow. You got a pipe blowing it out right there out of your motor. What's the odds you don't have oil everywhere? I got the inside a little bit cleaned up the other day. That's wild driving with the windshield open. What a different feeling. Us crankers, she'll do 80 miles an hour. I wanted to try to blow some of that carbon out of that motor. I've been running it easy. Yeah, that boot sucks, huh? Haven't done anything yet because I got that 4-speed tranny to put in. Why they would have brought that up around that handle like that, I don't know. Well, this had a different tranny. This was a truck tranny, now it's a car tranny. It's from the 50s because it's got no back mount on the tail shaft. Plus, it's got nowhere to hook a speedometer. I ordered a speedometer cable. I measured what I needed, I think 40-inch when I ordered. But there's nowhere to hook it to the transmission. Usually the tail shaft has a place you screw it in, but it's not there. It's on the 4-speed tranny though, so when I change the tranny, it will have a speedometer then. I was going to go digital and change my gauges to digital and that, but what the hell. It all works, why mess with it, you know? Like I say, I'm going to start with some templates out of cardboard to do this roof. Or, what do you call it in a vehicle? It's not a ceiling. It's not a roof because the roof's on the outside. Headliner, I guess, huh? That, and I'm gonna buy some of that insulation you peel off and stick to quiet this cab up. I don't know how quiet you're ever gonna get it on a cab like this. I did finally paint that center floor piece to get it to match a little. My blanket's out getting washed. Like I say, I'm gonna investigate that newer distributor to get that vacuum advanced better. That carburetor messes with me. I'll just go buy 2 brand new ones. I can't be playing around. I'm too old to be wasting my time wrenching on carburetors, so I want to be out driving around. Maybe I'll change that, put 3 of them on there, huh? Probably need a cam or something. I see these with 2 4-barrels on. I joined a couple of them straight 6 clubs. And you're seeing what those guys are doing with these. They say you can't blow them up. I was surprised with this thing set in 1.5 years and the way that tranny plug was leaking. I would have thought there was no grease in it, but it wasn't that low. I said grease again, loose. But when I screwed the plug all the way in tight with the Teflon on it and started the truck up, it made a noise. I had to shut it off and go unscrew the plug a little bit. It must have been rubbing something in there. So I've got 3 other trannies laying down over the hill. I'm gonna go down and get me a switchless plug with one of them. This plug must have been in and out so many times it wore out. I was thinking about John's arsenal of the doors and YouTube and Facebook and all that shit on it. Use it like it's an advertisement, but Yeah, I'm on Facebook too, John Carson. And seniors turning rust. You see this truck on there where I'm working on. I've been on there for 4 or 5 years now. I'm actually monetized over there. And grease all them fittings as soon as I get everything clean. I can see why everything's greasy with all them grease fittings. I hate them lights. I got to do something about them lights. I'm going to put some kind of old ones on there. I'm starting to get used to this grill. I got an idea for a hood. I got a hood off of a 94 Cavalier out there. It's fiberglass. Got 2 scoops on it. Thinking about cutting it down and making a hood for this, but I don't know, either the air cleaners will be sticking out of the hood or the scoops will be covering them. But that's in the future plans. We'll see that. All right, 16 minutes of me bullshit. That ought to be about enough for anybody. Hope everybody enjoys that nice Remington I showed today. That's 722. 257 Roberts. Nice gun. I got that from my nephew. His neighbor bought that brand new. Willed it to him when he died. I put the original scope back on it. He had a big scope on it. I took it off, put the original scope that was put on it back in the 50s. But I didn't have the original mount. I got to buy an old set of, I'd say back in the late 50s. Probably would have had Weaver rings on it with the Weaver blocks, the rings with the screws on one side. I would say. That's what I'm going to give it anyway. Yeah, that WD did make it shine a little bit. All right. I'm going to quit talking and go do something. Haven't made a long video in a while, but they don't get many views. I noticed my shorts get 400 views in an hour and then stop dead. I swear YouTube is stopping you from getting anywhere. Now Facebook is just the other way around. They're sending me things telling me I can use music without copyright infringement. You know, all kind of things. Every other day I get something from them encouraging me. And like I say, I made $5. And I wasn't even trying. I was on YouTube and putting all my sloppy seconds on Facebook. I made $5 over there. So I think maybe I need to change this around. Give YouTube my sloppy seconds and put my good shit on Facebook now. I don't know. I've only put shorts on there. I haven't done long videos. I'm gonna try a couple, see what happens. Alright, well, yeah, right there. I'm just going on and on because I don't want to actually get my hands dirty again today. What a pain in the ass. I'm not used to being greasy all the time. Alright, everybody have a good day. Hope you enjoy looking at my truck as much as I do showing. Seems to be doing good. Nobody's complaining about a truck on a gun site, you know. Everybody always gives me good compliments. Yeah, I did get my license plate bracket changed too. That's one of the reasons I found out it was loading up so much. I took the license plate off. It was all black on the back and carboned up. I looked up under the bed. It's all black up under there. I got to extend them exhaust pipes out to the back here. First I'll be right where the license plate is. I got to do something there. I don't know what. I like a bigger gas tank. I forget what I figured that was, 7 gallon or something like that. No, I was up there sleeping at the door. What are you doing, Mother? Huh? You bored up there? Alright, hey, that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Have a good day. Everybody be safe. Enjoy whatever the hell you're doing.